Allison Mirabella teaches niche tutorials for Novair Library Academy, and she is the digital literacy coordinator at the Longwood Public Library. She also served as past president and is the current treasurer of the Computer and Technology Services Division of SCLA and enjoys co-hosting monthly technology information forum meetings. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Allison. Thank you very much. And you'll
Awesome.
talk about posting in chat, right?
Yes. So yeah, I am going to be sending Lorna a copy of the presentation after this, so that way you guys will be able to read all the slides, catch up on what we got here.
And we're
Um,
recording.
and we're recording. I am going to be taking questions in chat throughout the presentation, so feel free if you got any questions, throw them in the chat. Then I'll be able to take a look and answer them. And Lorna will keep an eye out in case there's anything that I missed. So thank you so much, Lorna. And thank you to Greenwich Library. I always love teaching these classes here. And I always love talking about Canva. Basically, if you put me in front of a computer and say, talk about Canva for an hour, I will happily do so. So today I'm very excited because not only are we doing Canva, but we're going to be taking a look specifically at Canva's video production and editing features. So this is actually a relatively newer part of Canva. They originally didn't launch with that, but they've added so many new things for allowing you to make videos in different formats. So that's basically what we are going to go over today is we'll take a look at some of those features they've added. So just quickly to give you guys the agenda here. So first we are going to go through some of the video editing features. If you are somebody who is new to video editing, this class is still good to take because not only is Canva a very beginner-friendly video editing software, but we're also going to talk a little bit about some video editing basics and practices and stuff. So if you're brand new to video editing, this is a great class to take. If you've done video editing before and you just want to see what Canva specifically has, this is also good. After that, we are going to do a video together. So I'm going to go live into Canva and I'll show you what it looks like in the actual video production suite. And then after that, I'm going to take some questions. Like I said, I will be checking the chat throughout the presentation also. But if there's any remaining questions or anything you want me to go back to take a look at, we could always do that. All right. So first, just because occasionally I do have some people who are like, wait, what actually is Canva though? Let's just talk about briefly what Canva is. So Canva is a graphic design web software launched in 2013 as a limited beta. I was actually very, very lucky to get to use it when it was in that phase. And at that time, it was really just graphic design. I would say it was basically like an online web version of Microsoft. Oh my gosh, what is it called? That's how long I haven't used it for. But yeah, like Adobe InDesign, kind of like that. It was just graphic design software. But now Canva has really rolled out so many new features. They've kind of gone from being just a graphic design software to being an entire suite of different tools. So they had added the documents part of it. 2021, they added the video suite. So that's the video editing features. They added the AI tools, which we're going to touch upon briefly today. They've also added recently like an Excel part of it where you could do spreadsheets. They added a new email feature the other day. So they're just constantly rolling out more and more. And I think we're just going to continue to see Canva evolve as we, keep an eye on it. So there are two different versions of Canva. There's the free version, the pro version. You can absolutely use Canva for free and still get a lot of functionality out of it. I used the free version of Canva for years before I ended up upgrading. And I only ended up upgrading because I was just using it almost every day. So Canva free is, as I said, completely free to sign up. So you just create an account and you get a good amount of access to the design elements that they have in there. So they have a library of different elements that you can use. And if you have the free account, you could use a limited amount of them. For today's class, we're really going to be focusing on video. So they have stock video clips that are available in the free version, and they also have some free audio tracks that are available in the free version. With the pro version, it's $15 a month. That unlocks the full Canva library. So that means that you can use anything in the Canva library, and you are welcome to use that stuff outside of Canva. So if you want to post it on social media, you could absolutely do that, and you are able to use those elements. The only thing that is a little bit iffy with copyright is the music library. So we're going to talk about that later when we talk about the audio library. But just be aware, Canva does have some copyrighted stuff in there that even if you're paying for Canva Pro, might not still fly with, say, YouTube or Facebook or some of like the more strict copyright things. So we'll talk about that a bit later. All right. And Canva is also web-based, meaning that you can access it from any browser. So you just go to www.canva.com and you are able to log on and access all of your projects. There are also apps as well, if you'd rather have some software that's downloaded to your device. There's apps for iOS and Android, and there's also desktop apps for Windows and Mac OS. So those have some offline capabilities, and they also allow you to stay in sync with your projects, when you're accessing the browser version. So we're actually going to be looking at the Windows version today, but I find that they're very, very similar. So if you have a Mac, everything's going to look pretty close to what we see. Okay, so let's talk about some of the 2026 features. All right, so first off, for Canva free, this is what you get for video editing. You get the basic video editing tools. You get a limited selection of stock videos, music, and templates, simple transitions and effects, and you can export MP4 videos without watermarks. Any other file format, that it will have a watermark if you try to export it on the free version. But most of the platforms accept MP4s, so that's not a problem for most people. Now, there are some exciting stuff that happens once you upgrade to Pro. First off, the background remover. So they have the background remover for photos, but they also have it for videos. So that basically allows you to turn any video clip into an instant green screen, which is very, very useful for creators. Instead of having to do the whole green screen setup, you could just film in front of like a blank wall or whatever, remove the background, and then it's operating like a green screen. So awesome, awesome for YouTubers. The magic resize is another thing that I think is worth it. So for magic resize, if I say have a video that's landscape format, like for YouTube, and I want that same video to be converted to portrait format, that's what the magic resize does. So it'll resize it so that it will fit that other format. And then I can just go ahead and adjust however I want. So instead of having to remake that whole video, you're just able to resize it. I do see a quick question in the chat that I'm just going to grab. Let's see. Angelique asked, is it worth downloading the desktop app as opposed to just using it on the web? I think so, just to have that peace of mind with the offline capability. The app version also has some extra tools, like it has the color picker in more areas, which is useful if you're trying to match colors in your design. But I just like it for the offline stuff, especially like if I know that there's something I really have to access that's so important to me, and I really need to work on it, then just knowing like I can have that offline access is good. But other than that, though, I would say they're very similar. So you're really not missing out on a lot if you're just using the web version. Canva Pro gives you access to the premium stock videos, the brand kit. So if you're going to be making videos for social media, like to promote your business, you could actually have your business's logo and color scheme preloaded. So that just makes it easier for you to make content. Transparent video overlays, you get the high quality exports, and you also have some enhanced export settings as well. So again, you could absolutely make videos with the free version, but you do get some nice extras with the pro version. All right. So what does Canva actually offer for you to use in videos? We all have seen, probably if you've ever used Canva before, We're all probably familiar with the standard graphic design stuff that Canva offers. They have the photos, they have the graphics, they have different text and fonts. All of those can absolutely be used in your videos, but they do have some specific stuff that it really only works in the video mode. So there might be like a whole part of it that you just never really dived into if you've never done the video editing in Canva before. So just to give you an idea of some of those things that you have at your disposal. First off, Canva does have an entire library of stock videos. So this replaces the need to get outside stock videos from websites. You could just look up whatever you need stock videos of, and you're able to click those in. If you don't know what stock videos of, it's kind of like filler footage, sort of. So for example, if I'm doing like a class and I'm talking about smartphones and I don't want to be showing my face the whole time, I could just put in some filler of like, oh, here's a person with their phone. Here's a person going on their computer. That's what stock video is. And they have a pretty good library of that. The audio library has music tracks, sound effects, and voiceovers. The music tracks that they do have some of just like the instrumental lo-fi style ones that you see online, but they actually do have music tracks by a major artist, which is great for if you're just making a video for yourself. Like I said, we do run into some issues if, say, you want to use a song by, I don't know, Linkin Park. I'm showing my age. I was an emo in high school. But if you wanted to use like a song by them, that is a copyrighted artist. So that you wouldn't be able to use on something like YouTube. So you do want to be a bit cognizant of what you're choosing in the audio library. But I'll show you what I mean when we actually pop in there later. Text and animations allow you to add captions, animate typography, and pre-made motion effects like fade in and typewriters. I love the animations because they have a feature called Magic Animate, where basically it can apply those to each of the elements in there. So instead of me having to make individual decisions about like, okay, is this piece of text going to fade in from the side? And then is this picture going to pop in from the top? It'll just see the scene, take in the context, and it'll give you animation. So we'll take a look at that live. If you're like, what does that mean? I'll show you what it actually means in a little bit. But it's a helpful feature because that is something that I didn't really enjoy about traditional video editing, during my Final Cut Pro days, as much as I love Final Cut Pro. Stickers and graphics bring videos to life with animated icons, motion graphics, and engaging overlays. So these are like the graphics that we have in standard Canva, except they are able to move, which is cool. If I have a picture of a butterfly, instead of just being a static picture of a butterfly, it'll be a butterfly flapping its wings. So that's something that is nice to just, punch up your videos every once in a while. And then transitions and effects. This is very similar to the almost like PowerPoint, like where you go from slide to slide. This allows you to have transitions between video clips, which is nice if you're making like a slideshow type of thing. Or if you just want to control like, okay, I want this video clip to fade out to this clip, or I want the end of the video to kind of fade to black. That sort of thing is very easily customizable with Canva. And let's talk about some video editing terms, because when we get into Canva, I'm going to be referring to a lot of these terms. But if you're brand new to video editing, you might not have ever heard of any of these words before. So I do want to just kind of slow down and go over some of this stuff. A lot of these terms are terms that you will see in other video editing software. So if you use iMovie, if you used Windows Movie Maker back in the day, a lot of these terms are similar to those terms. But let's take a look at what we got here. So first off is the timeline. So in Canva, we usually have the canvas is where I'm doing the vast majority of my work. In the video suite of Canva, we have the timeline. So this is the timeline down here. And the timeline is where I actually have all of my photos, videos, graphics, audio. I have them all in this nice little list down here. Canva uses what's called a magnetic timeline, which is very similar to Final Cut Pro, meaning that I can just pop something in and then I'm able to adjust it and I can actually attach other things to it. So for example, if I have this clip, I could attach the audio to it. And then, if I move that clip over to here, the audio move with it. Just makes it very easy to like drag and drop your stuff, rather than having to really get in there. Definitely makes for an easier workflow. Clips, these are individual pieces of videos or still images that I add to the timeline. So for example, we have 2 clips down here. We could tell that this one is a video clip because it has a timestamp. So we could see that this is a clip that right now is about 15 seconds long. This one over here is just a still photo. Audio will also have timestamps too, so we could see audio down here. And the audio looks different because you actually get like a little waveform, whereas with the clips, you could actually see a little preview of what the clips look like. Trimming. So this is where you could spend a lot of time with video editing. Trimmings is when I cut a part of a video clip to make it shorter, or sometimes you can make it longer too if the original clip was longer. So for trimming, that's useful when it comes to timing. Like let's say I have my video clips and I want to time them to a song, right? And maybe at the end of the line, I want to transition to another clip. Being able to take these clips and make them shorter will help with that transition. So trimming is super useful. And you will also start to get a sense when you really start video editing of when a scene is going on too long. You'll have a clip and you'll be sitting there for a few seconds. You'll be like, all right, my mind's already wandered away somewhere else. So you know that that's a good area to clip there. Splitting. Splitting allows you to divide a clip into 2 parts, a little bit different than trimming. Trimming is taking one clip and making it shorter, kind of making it longer if I already shortened it. Whereas splitting is, say I took this clip, I split it in half, and then I can put other photos or other things in between that clip. So if I want to have a shot, then cut away to something else, and then cut back to that original shot, splitting is how I'm going to do that. Transitions. These are effects, as I said earlier, that smooth the shift between 2 clips, because sometimes it could be very jarring, like say this particular clip we have here, we have dark green background, and then suddenly we're jumping to this yellow photo of this lion. Sometimes that sort of transition could be very, very stark. So being able to kind of like subtly shift into the next thing is nice, especially if you want a video with a more relaxing vibe, like think meditative music, gently transitioning from clip to clip, comes in handy for those kind of effects. Animations, as I said, those are motion effects applied to elements or text. I think these are really best understood when you actually see them in action, so we'll circle back around to those. The audio tracks, music, sound effects, or voiceovers, those are all added into the timeline on a separate line. So you could see we have all the video clips up here, but then audio is in its own little separate line underneath. So usually the audio files go underneath the clips. Then finally export. Oh, sorry, we got a question.
All right. There's a question. I don't know if you want to address this now or when you get into, the actual showing us Canva. Francois wants to know, transitions never seem to be very smooth for me. Any ideas on what I might be doing wrong? They're often choppy.
That's honestly a great question. A lot of it, I think, is determined by the clip that you're working with. Sometimes if you have a clip that's transitioning in a weird place, or the transition's a little bit too long or a little awkward, I'm going to say once we take a look at Canva Live, we'll play around with some of the transitions and kind of troubleshoot that a bit. I could show you some of the ways to adjust them, because I found that was an issue that I had when I originally started video editing. If you took my YouTube class, I used to do YouTube back in the day. And yeah, that was an issue is, sometimes I would have these really choppy, fast transitions and, learning like, okay, how do I adjust this clip to slow this down? Or what's part do I stop this at to be able to put in that transition? And also like what transition is right for that situation. So yeah, we'll definitely pop back around to Francois because I think that that's a good question. And then last thing is just exporting. So exporting allows you to save the final video in whatever format you need. You can use the video suite to make GIFs if that's something that you're interested in. So those are basically like little short animated clips that you could share on social media, but you also have traditional video files like MP4s. All right, so let's hop into Canva now. So spoiler alert, we were in Canva the whole time. So we're going to come out of the presentation. But before we come out of the presentation, I do just want to show you. So this is what standard Canva looks like, right? I have my canvas here, design elements here. This is going to be pretty similar. And then down here, I have all the pages that I can switch between. But watch how that changes when we go to create a video instead. So this is the Canva homepage here. You can see I have some of my recent projects that I have been working on. And when I look at the projects that I have, they will have a little icon next to them. So we could see that this has a presentation icon. This one has, it looks like a little pen and a paper. So like all these have different icons. The video icon is this one. And so when you see this one next to a file, that means that you've made that file in the video suite. And that's how you open up the video suite is by selecting video up here. So you can see we have all the different files that we can create with Canva, and this opens to the different parts of Canva. So if I want to create a video, I could come here. If I want to continue a video that I already have, I would just click wherever the video is. I don't think I have any right now, unfortunately, but we'll go create one, then we can come back and click on it later. So I'm going to click video. All right. And then once I click video, it's going to start to give me options on the types of videos that I can make. So first off, I do just want to show you down here, they have all these nice templates that you could start off with. We will kind of pop back around to the templates in a little bit, but this is really, really nice for people who have maybe not done video editing before. Just being able to start off with a template and add in your own text is nice. So for example, let's say I'm doing advertising for my yoga studio. I don't have a yoga studio, but let's just pretend we live in a universe where I have a yoga studio. I might want to do, it's okay to take a break, have nice meditative music or whatever, and then put my social media handle or my website or my studio's website down here. So yeah, if you're just getting started, starting with the template's nice because you could just start with the template and just change the elements you want, which we'll take a look at in a bit. But I'm going to ignore the templates for now, and I'm going to look at the video options that I have down here. So we have specific ones for certain social media platforms. So if I know, hey, I'm making an Instagram reel, this is the way that I want to advertise my yoga studio is on Instagram. And I know that Instagram is what I'm going to be using. I could come straight to Instagram here and just have a video that's already formatted properly for Instagram. If I scroll a little bit more, you could see they have Facebook. So Facebook uses slightly more, square-shaped videos than Reels and TikToks. TikTok's usually portrait. YouTube Shorts, we can also see as portrait. So if I know I'm going to be using one of those platforms, I could just start with a video like template, basically, that's already formatted for that. If you're not sure what platform you're going to be using, you can choose to do either a mobile video or a landscape video. And honestly, which one you choose will really depend on who you want watching your video and how you want them watching. You know, if you're creating a video for YouTube or something that's intended to be watched on a computer or a TV, or, you know, a smartphone where you're turning it to the side, doing a landscape video might be a good idea. If you're intending to post your video to something like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, where you're holding your phone and you're just swiping through the videos, doing a mobile video is probably a better idea. So that's a first decision that we're going to want to make there. Let's see. I see that there's a question. Oh, yeah. Elements have a crown. So yeah, any of the ones with the crown are things that are pro versions. So you could see up here, the question was about the crown. So these little crowns are indicating that, yes, these are pro features. So if you have pro, you could use these features, but there's also non-pro features in there as well. All right, so I'm going to say
There's another question
oh,
in there too.
oh,
About
there is. Did I miss that one? Oh, Allison Heaps. My name's Allison too. So can you show us the process of uploading video from your phone and then editing it and adding fun stuff, or is that the paid version? Yes. Since I'm not on my phone, I can't show you that part of it, but I can show you what happens when you have a video uploaded, because I do have some video clips that are from my phone. So, and that is something that you could do with the free version as well as the paid version, which is one of my favorite things to do with Canva. And actually one of my mom's favorite things to do with Canva. She loves putting together photos and videos and making like little like slideshows to share on Facebook. She's gotten very good at them. So she does all that with Canva, and she does it with the Canva app. So yeah, absolutely. The steps that you're going to see here would be very similar to what you're seeing in the app. It just might look a little different because you're on mobile. Let's do a mobile video in that case, actually. So I'm going to click mobile video. All right. And that is starting us off in the video suite. So you could see already right off the bat, this looks a little bit different, right, than what we were seeing before. So we still have our canvas up here, but now instead of my elements really going here, that's going to be where I actually watch my video. So if I press play, that shows me a preview of my video and what it's going to look like. And then we have the timeline down here, which is where I'm going to be dragging and dropping all those fun elements. I can make the timeline bigger or smaller with this icon down here. So you see where it says zoom. That might be a little tough to see, but it says 28% right now. And I can drag that in and out to make my video bigger or smaller. That way, you know, I can get in a little closer, see it a little closer. All right, so let's start exploring this a bit. Right now, you're going to see that we have nothing. So if I hit play, there's nothing to play. It'll start playing through the timeline, but right now it's blank. This little marker down here, sometimes the window jumps out from the side, so sorry if that happens, but this little marker down here is showing you the time. So we could see that, you know, right now it's timing at about 5 seconds. There's nothing in there, but that's showing you your progress throughout the video. So you're going to see me taking a look at that. You could always click this to drag it back and forth through your video to see it at different times. So when we have some content in there, I'll show you what that looks like. But let's get some content first. So you have choices when it comes to working with the video editor. First, you can go into the elements library here and grab any of the traditional Canva elements and add them into your timeline. So you can see from the categories, we have just basic geometric shapes, graphics, animations, photos, videos, audio, etc. Let's take a look at videos, see what we got in here. So these are all video clips that Canva offers for free. And we can see by these video clips that they each have a timestamp. So that gives you an idea of how long that individual clip is. So let's grab something. Let's grab this red panda because he's very cool. The ones with the crown are premium videos. The ones that don't have the crown, like this one, those are videos that you could use with the free version. And you can see actually quite a lot of them don't have the crown icon. But I'm going to grab the red panda. If I want to add that into my video, I can either click it and it'll drop in, or I can just drag and drop where I want it to go. So let's take my little marker here, start at the beginning, and hit play. And let's see, hopefully it'll play. Or not, that's okay. Just thinking about it. There we go, okay. So now we could see my clip is playing here. As I'm looking at the clip though, it does seem like it's a bit weirdly zoomed in. If I double click on my clip here in the canvas, I can actually adjust that. So that way I can make sure our little panda friend there is nice and centered. Let's try playing it again. Start it from the beginning. There we go. And then we get our file playing again. So that's how quick it is to just drag something into the timeline. For now, I'm going to take our little panda friend out. And I'll take a look at some of the other things that we got here. So it's a video. The animations we can also add into. I'm just going to show you briefly what those look like. So let's say I was doing a brief little social media video about AI, and I wanted to put this cool dancing robot in my video. So all I do is click him, he'll drop on the canvas, and then I can go ahead and add my text, add other graphics, whatever I want. I'll say, learn AI with me. There we go. And then this part I like because it does kind of combine the video editing portion of Canva with the traditional Canva, where I can just drag and drop my elements and move them around. So we've already got a little video going there. So that's our little video we could see when we play it. Now, that was a short little video. If I wanted to make that longer, if we look down at our timeline here, you see we have two different elements now. We have the robot. So if I click the robot's highlighted, and I have the text. If I click the text is highlighted. If I want to choose how long an element goes on for, all I do is grab the end of it and drag it. So right now it's about 5 seconds, but let's say I want this robot to dance for about 20 seconds. So I'm dragging it out a little bit longer down there. So let's maybe do, so we could see that the text is 5 seconds. The robot is going longer. So we could see the text went away, the robot's still dancing. And then maybe I could do another text bot. Come learn AI with us. Maybe we won't dance. Promise. There we go. Okay, so we got learn AI with me. Our robot's dancing there. We won't dance, promise. So again, we could see how long each clip is. We have one that's about 5 seconds here. We got one about 5 seconds there. So that's what the timeline looks like. And this is also how easy it is to swap things around on the timeline too. If I decide I actually want this come learn AI with me text to go towards the end of the video instead of towards the front, all I do is click and drag it and just drop it down where I want it to go in the video. And I can maybe drag this one here. So I could really just rearrange these clips as much as I want. So let's actually make a real video now instead of just playing around with these little elements here. And let's go with Allison's question and actually do some stuff that I uploaded from my phone. So if I ignore all of the elements here, so I'm ignoring elements, I'm ignoring text, ignoring brands, right there is uploads. So uploads is going to show me files that I have uploaded from my device. So because I'm a crazy cat lady, I'm going to say, let's do a little slideshow and video of my cats. So we have a bunch of different images here. So I'm in uploads. I could see images that I've uploaded from my phone. If I want to add something from my phone or computer, I could just click uploads files. So upload files here, and then I can add anything that is saved to my computer or saved to my phone, which is why I like using the mobile version of Canva, because instead of having to take the stuff from my phone, transfer it to the computer, and then upload it to Canva, I just have the Canva app. I just hit upload files and I just upload them directly from my photo gallery. So that makes it pretty fast. So these are images I uploaded. If I click videos next to it, if I have any videos uploaded, then we can do videos. So let's start with this clip here. So I have a 19-second clip of my cats both aggressively licking a choo-doo. If you don't know what that is, it's like a little cat treat type thing. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to drop it. So there we go. We can see we have, so you can see we have that clip there of them enjoying their treat. If I right click the file, because this might be a little distracting if I want to add music or something to it, because right now you could hear me talking to the cats, telling them to chill out because they're going way too fast. If I right click on the video clip, I can do extract audio and I could actually take that sound out. So I could remove the audio from any of my clips. That way, if I want to put music or something over it, you don't have this audio competing. Again, to just show you how I did that, I right clicked and just did extract audio. And then you could see I have the audio separately down here. And if I just want to delete that audio, I just backspace on it. So now I have the clip. Here we go, them licking the churro. But maybe I want to add some music because now without the audio, it does sound a little empty, right? So let's go back to my elements up here. And let's go to audio. And let's take a look through the audio library. So you can see like Michael Bublé, Aretha Franklin. Again, they do have some big artists in here. It's not all just like instrumental stuff. Miley Cyrus, Lizzo. But, you know, we're probably going to want to use something maybe instrumental. So let's get a good one I used the other day. Oh yeah, cartoon ukulele. This is cute. All right, so I clicked my file, dropped right down onto my timeline in the audio area. And let's see what that sounds like.
I'm not hearing the audio.
Oh no, the audio's not playing? So
Not
I'm just
playing.
popping my head to nothing. Oh man, it may be because Canva is not able to play it on, let's see. Are you able to hear it now? So it wasn't playing? Okay.
No.
All right, just pretend there's some really cool ukulele upbeat music playing in the background. But I could hear it on my end. So I do know that it is in there, but it just seems like Zoom is not transmitting it, which does happen sometimes, unfortunately, with Zoom.
There is an
Uh,
important question in here for
Oh,
you.
yeah, let's see. So Francois said, how do you know whether a song is copyrighted? Because I've used music and then Facebook tells me it's copyrighted after I've done all of that work. That is a great question. I believe we go into the music here. Let's see. Here we go. So if I click on a song, so the three dots here, next to it will tell you what sort of copyright is available. So this one says commercial use is allowed on it, whereas this one says popular music, only personal use allowed. So that'll give you an idea of if this is something that I can just use for myself to make like a fun little video, or if I'm actually able to post it online. This one that says YouTube here, a lot of the ones in that category are going to be commercial use allowed. These are very similar to the things that you would find in the YouTube audio library. Very good question though, Francois. All right, so let's take my video. Unfortunately, you guys won't be able to hear the audio. I'm sorry about that. Unless I just a screen share, maybe. No, okay, no worries. So right now we could see this video clip is about 19 seconds long, which is super great and cute. I'm gonna actually delete this if people aren't able to hear it, or we'll just make it softer. So this is about 19 seconds long, which is great, but that is a very long time to watch my cats pull, look in a true there. So if I want to trim this video clip to be shorter, I can click on the clip and I can just drag it in. So what I might do if I'm editing it is I might watch it, kind of get a feel for, okay, that's cute. And now I feel like I'm about ready for another clip. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this clip to about that size. And then I'm going to go back to uploads, and then maybe we'll add some still images in here. So I'm going to add this one here. So we're going to drag and drop that picture. So that added a picture for about 5 seconds. We'll just drag and drop a couple other ones. There we go. We got that one there. Let's maybe do this one. Okay, we'll do that one last. That one's my favorite. All right, so now let's watch what we've got so far. So we have the video, and then we have some photos it's going to cut to. So we got a photo here. Now, right now we could just see it's switching to photo. So we have photo, and then bam, another photo, and then bam, another photo, which is a little bit jarring, right? So we might want to add some transitions between these things to make it a little bit more smooth. So to do that, if I take my mouse and I put it between two clips, I could see that two buttons show up. There's the add media button, but below that, there's the add transition button. So if I click add transition, then I can choose any of these transitions between the clips. So let's try a couple different ones just so we can see what they look like. So we'll do a dissolve. Maybe we'll do a slide. And I think this might also go into your question, Francois, because I think the type of some of these transitions are a little bit harder than other ones. Like I find flow is a little bit more gentle. So depending on what your transition is will also kind of determine how choppy that experience is. We'll do a circle wipe just for fun. And you can see even when I put a transition, I can even control things like how long that transition takes. And depending on the transition, you get different options with them. And then let's put one here between the video clip and the first photo. Let's do a dissolve on that one too. We'll make it a slightly longer dissolve. All right, so now let's watch. We'll have all these fun transitions. So you can't hear it, but I have some music going in the background. We have first picture. Now we have it kind of nicely transitioning from picture to picture instead of just picture, picture, picture. And you can see that was a very fast transition. So that's something that I might not want. So I might want to edit that one. There we go. So we have that. I'm also thinking maybe let's put something at the beginning of this video because it is a little boring. Like I might want to put maybe like a title screen that says like my cats or something. I can absolutely just create that from scratch, but I can also go into, if we do design up here, we have a whole bunch of different fun title cards that I can start my video off with. So let's look for cats. So we got a bunch here. This one I used the other day. I might just use that one again. That's kind of cute. You know what? Let's do, I'm gonna do the International Cat Day. I like this one as an example because it just shows you how like all those elements can come together. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna drop it right into my video. If it wants to go. Maybe not. Blank. Maybe I need to put it on blank. There we go. Okay. There it is. Okay, so we can see that there is a lot going on with this group up here, right? So let's take all this stuff together real quick. We're going to move it all to the beginning. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, so we have Happy International Cat Day. We definitely need a transition there, so let's add a little transition. So, all right, so let's see. There we go. And so now your video starts to transition there. Now, one thing you might notice is that all these elements are static right now, right? They're just kind of standing still at the beginning, they're standing still at the end. We could add some animation to this if we want to be able to punch it up a little bit. So if we click animate at the top, so this will give me the option to kind of control how these different things are coming in and out. So let's see. I think if I highlight all of them. Now let's create animations. Hold on. There we go. Can we do rise? Do rise on enter. Maybe fade on exit. All right, let's see what that looks like. These are almost like transitions for. How's that working? Hold on. Okay. Highlighting all of them. You can kind of see what it looks like from there. Oh, for some reason, it's not playing in the preview. I do also want to mention that, as you can see from up here, that the video editor is still a beta. So sometimes it can get a little bit glitchy. But when the video actually exports, it should have them rise up from the bottom there. And then we can see it goes into the video from there. There you go. So that's really the basics of making a video with Canva. As you can see, the drag and drop timeline, I think, makes it a lot easier than some other video editors. If you've ever used Adobe Premiere or something like that, it is a pretty high learning curve. Whereas this, if you're already familiar with dragging and dropping from the traditional Canva, this is going to look very similar. Let's see, I think we got a question here. Allison says, when the video is finished, how do you obtain a link to the video that could be inserted into PowerPoint or Insta? I'm thinking of trying videos and educational lectures. I think I see at the top where it says share. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, let's take a look at that. So let's maybe end my video on that for right now. And yeah, if I click at the top of the screen here, we can click share. And then I can choose download. So for downloading, there are a bunch of different options here. We're going to want to do MP4 video. You could also do GIF as a possibility as well. For the MP4 video, though, that's what we're going to want to use for sites like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And I can choose the quality of the video file as well. So one thing I do want to note about video files, especially when you start working with them, is video files tend to be larger than traditional files. So, you know, a 1080p video file is going to be large. A 4K video file is going to be extremely big. And the longer your video is, the more space it's going to take. I used to have videos back in the day that would be like several gigabytes long. So this is something that you might want to note, you know, depending on how much room you have on your computer or phone. So I'm going to do 1080p. That's standard high definition. We're going to download that. So exporting videos in Canva takes a long time, but that is going to download and save to my computer. Then once it's saved to my computer or my phone, I can go to whatever social media website I want, and I can just upload the video. So that would be very similar to, you know, just say like if I'm logging into Instagram or something, it usually has like the plus, I could just do plus, or Reels, click Reels, and then I could just select the video from my photo library, or in this case, my computer. And so we'd be able to do that. There was a question about videos in PowerPoint. If you are using, oh, here we go. Call this video. So if you're using Canva presentations, I'm actually curious to see if this works myself. So let's come out of here. I'm going to grab a presentation. I'll grab this presentation. There we go. And we'll add a slide. So I can do upload files, and then I can upload that video I just made, and I could drop it right into my PowerPoint presentation, and you can see it's already playing. There you go. I can make that bigger or smaller. If I was doing PowerPoint, if I knew it was going to be for PowerPoint, I'd probably do a landscape video. But that just gives you an idea of how that works. Another thing that I do want to mention that's not really video editor related, but if I just go to YouTube, so say I have my video hosted on YouTube, or I just happen to have a clip on YouTube, like let's say I do Canva. Here we go. Let's just grab a random Canva tutorial here. And just pause that. If I grab the link of the video up top, I can actually just copy and paste that link into Canva, and it actually gives me the video that I could play right from my presentation. So that's also another way too. So you could either directly upload your video into the presentation, or you could host it on another website like YouTube and then just copy and paste the link in. But hopefully that answered your question there, Allison. But yeah, any other questions that we have about the video version of Canva? I hope that at least gives you an idea of how to get started with it. Like I said, it's a lot of fun when you begin doing it. I would say the easiest way is just, like Allison was saying, upload a bunch of photos from your phone and just like make a video of clips and photos from your last vacation. Or for somebody's birthday, maybe put together a short little video to post on their timeline. I think little projects like that are a great way to just kind of get you up and running with it. That way you can try it out and see what you think. Oh, no problem. Francois said, CapCut versus Canva, advantages, disadvantages. Cox said, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Francois, I would say CapCut, I would say both of them are good. CapCut is a much more focused video editor. And CapCut is also going to have a lot of those extra like filters and stuff. It's very popular on TikTok because of like some of the AI filters and things it has that Canva just doesn't have. I would say Canva is a very, very simple video editor. It could really get you going quick and just put together a quick clip, but there's not a lot of like special effects and stuff that you can add the way that CapCut has. CapCut definitely has the step up on there too. Alexis says, any tips and tricks for somebody who has more editing experience and does a lot of reels? That's a good question, Alexis. I think probably the best thing with Canva, specifically if you've already done video editing, I think is really just being able to make use of the templates just to kind of get your stuff done a little bit quicker. So for example, let me start with a fresh file here. Just go to video. We'll actually do a reel. There we go. So I think just being able to have these different templates to start you off with, I think is nice. A lot of these templates also come with multiple pages. So if you're trying to just create content quickly, just to say like, I need something that's going to go up on Wednesday and it needs to be quick. You know, I could just apply this whole template here. And then I already have a video that's done where I can go ahead and start editing it. So for me, I'll find Canva's great for use cases like that when I just want to put together something quickly. You know, when I want to produce a video that I'm putting a little bit more time into, then I'm probably going to use something like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere. But if I just want to get started with something fast, you know, for this, it's like, okay, we already have these video clips here, and I could replace any of these with my video clips that I want and just kind of have the text and the overlay and the music already done in there. So it works good for stuff like that. The other thing that I would say is really, really nice is the brand kit. So if you are managing an Instagram account and you really want to make sure that you have a nice unified look to everything, being able to have your brand kit in here with your logo and your color scheme is useful, because then you could take any of these templates and just apply different color schemes. Of course, there's not a lot of color in this one, so let me pick something. So let's say we did, and let's create something. Do blank, drop a text box, Allison's. Black so we can see it for right now. Okay, so we got that. Now, if I go to my brand kit, I manage the Long Island Library Conference, so I do their social media. So if I say drop their logo in, definitely want to make that smaller though. There we go. So I could drop the logo. I could change the color scheme to whatever. It wants to. I think it's getting a little held up by. Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it gets a little bit glitchy when I'm on Zoom, but I can shuffle things from the color scheme. If I have fonts and specific things or graphics that I use regularly, we could add in those as well. So hopefully that just gives you an idea. Let's see. Alexis also said, you mentioned grouping audio and video layers to make adjusting clips. Absolutely. Let's actually just do that with what I did. So let's say I'm on this part of the video. So right now we have Allison's cool video, Long Island Library Conference. And I want to keep these things together. So I can just click and drag from the side there, or I could do Control All. So I did Control All, and I can group them together. And you could see that on the timeline now. That made those specific elements one solid group where I can move them around. So I could put these wherever I want now. And I can also say, if I take the audio here, if I want the audio to maybe attach to this, I can hold Shift, hold that. And I should be able to group them together. Or not, if it doesn't want to. Oh, it's being really glitchy right now. I'm sorry. I think it might be partially because I'm on Zoom. It keeps like freezing. But basically it's Control All and group. Should put them together. Any other questions? Oh, no problem, Francois. I hope it helps out a little bit. I feel like it's a fun software. No problem, Alexis. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you already do Reels, then, I think it'll just be like a nice, quick video editor for you if you just need content.
Well, thank you very much, Allison. This was really clear and a great new thing to try.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate it. And thank you,
And
guys.
thank you all for coming. Hope to see you at the next one.
Have a good one, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.